It's been a while since I had to say a few words about my brother, and kind of gets me here when I think of my beautiful daughters here saying it on our behalf. Can you hear me now? Yeah. That's the first time anybody ever said they couldn't hear me. This one. You're going to pay for that now, because I'm going to bring it up. In fact, can I just take this off here? I'll feel more comfortable. Anyway, belated welcome. Thank you. I've said hi to a lot of you on the way in, and it really is a special night. For those of you who have, how many here have never been to the museum before? Kind of a mixed bag, and that's, believe it or not, one of our biggest problems. It's the best kept secret in Baltimore and maybe in the country, something we intend to fix. And while this is primarily a pop culture museum, which is really the history of the country through the eyes of pop culture, I'm sure you've already had the occasion as you walked around these halls today to say, my God, I remember that when I was a kid, I had this, no matter what age you are. So all of you are guilty of having revisited your childhood here tonight. But aside from my normal speech about GEM and what it represents and what it's designed to do, tonight is especially important to, as Missy said, to the Geppi family, because, not just because my brother is a part of this exhibit, but because I love Baltimore, as she said before. You'll listen to me say I bought the City magazine, I loved it so much. But I got to thinking about it, and my daughters are very creative, and they came up with the idea of having something that really commemorated specifically people from Baltimore in particular. And while there are people on the list that are world famous, vis-a-vis Cal Ripken, there are people, like my brother even, that maybe aren't world famous, but if you lived in Baltimore or you lived in the neighborhood, you had to know them. And too often, as in the case of this past year, we say goodbye to people that we love, and it's a sad occasion, and often after all the people leave the funeral home, those of the family members go back to their homes, and there's not all that comfort there. And I thought, wouldn't it be great, we thought, wouldn't it be great if we had a place where we could celebrate, really, the lives of all those people that have touched our lives and continue to do so. So it was with that in mind that we started talking, and then the next thing you know, we decided that this room, which is interesting, I love this room, what it was before, the pioneer spirit, and it really still does to some degree. There are parts of it that takes you from the late 1800s into the early 1900s as it relates to pop culture and the early characters, the brownies. The only problem I have with that is, if you notice, when you come in here, people end up going to the room that kind of relates to their age. Well, this kind of became a problem because not too many people remember this period. And while I love it and it's wonderful, I thought to anchor both sides of the building, it'd be a lot better if we took something that could be fresh and new, all the time, ever changing. And what we plan to do is to continue to incorporate and induct, if you will, people into the Hall of Heroes that are, in our opinion, really true heroes. It doesn't mean that they got the Congressional Medal of Honor. It doesn't mean that they won the World Series. These are people that live on forever and ever in everyone's minds, and we all have heroes in our family. So at a minimum, what I'm going to say to you before you go in there, because we're just starting, and believe me, you have to start somewhere. In 1933, up in Cooperstown, they inducted, I think, 33 Major League Baseball players, and now there are hundreds of them there, so you can't put everybody in at once. But I am going to encourage you, whether it be in person tonight or a little note afterwards, people that you think belong in there, please feel free to mention it. We already know most of the ones you're going to say. You're going to say, why isn't this one? Why? That's because it's just starting. But we do feel that there's going to be a lot of people that you're going to remind us of in some cases that maybe, hadn't thought about that. This is somebody that really played a special part in my life, and particularly as it relates to Baltimore. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take a little bit of time here, and I don't want to take too much time because I know you're all dying to eat and drink and come see the exhibit. But I just want to tell you how proud I am of my children. I know this is something that every one of you relate to as it relates to your children. And I guess because it's my museum, I get to take advantage of that right now. But 3 of my 6 kids are here this evening. You've already met Missy, who is she runs the museum. My daughter Gina, and my little son Stevie's right here. My 3 other children aren't here this evening, but I'm equally proud of them. And to see them get up and to tell my humble story and remember, I'm always amazed when they kind of remind me of things that I quote-unquote taught them, that it was being burned in their brain back then, some of my little anecdotes and the like. But it makes you feel really good as a dad to know that your kids were listening, and I'm very proud of the way you brought it up. So thank you guys. Appreciate so much what you've done to make Daddy proud. But thank you. I see a lot of familiar faces, And those of you who I just met for the first time, I hope that this isn't your last visit to Geppi's Entertainment Museum. I hope that you will tell as many people as possible what you've seen. I think you're going to, if you haven't already, come to that conclusion that this is a pretty special hidden place. You will before the night's out. But, and also before, you get into these situations where you don't want to start recognizing people and then subsequently not recognize others. But since we were talking about my dear brother, his two children and his grandchildren are here tonight. Is Caden here? Is Tatum here? Yeah. Tatum's not here. This is the love of my brother's life, his little grandson, Caden. Caden, say hi. There he is. For those of you who can't see, there's a hand up out here. And my beautiful niece, his lovely daughter, Chrissy, and her boyfriend, Dave. And where are you, Stevie? My brother, who, if you never saw my brother, you're looking at him now because he's a dead ringer, and his wife, Cindy. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope you're pleased with the way we're going to try to keep not only my brother, your dad's life alive and all the memories, but all the people that we're commemorating here. Tony DeSales. There's just so many people that touch your life, you just don't realize it. So in the future, when you come to the museum, you're going to come to see the pop culture side of it, but be thinking about the special connection that Baltimore has to this one little room here. So I thank you for your attention. It's a lot of you, and it's not as big a room as could be, but we invite you to come in and enjoy what you're going to see. Thanks so much.